Today in Agronomy on KFIL AM 1060 with Pioneer Field Agronomist Allie Wise and Josh Schaffner. Here's Josh and Allie.
Good morning, Southeast Minnesota. Today is November 25th, 2020. Josh, this is episode number 49. So last week we had a lot of things that we were talking about around post-harvest. A lot of things to talk about, as there is every year, but a couple of topics that we didn't get to that we wanted to make sure that we covered this week. But before we get to some of those, maybe management topics on the corn side of things, did just want to talk through, we're also sitting in this time of the year when we're making a lot of seed decisions for both corn and soybeans for our acres that we'll plant in 2021. So we just generally wanted to talk through, is it important to take a look at product selection, down to what level? And then what's sort of some good data you should be looking for, what's bad data, just so you can try and vet through all the different pieces you get thrown at yourself this time of the year.
Yeah, that's kind of what we'll probably all be doing here the next couple of weeks is really, kind of shifting gears from analyzing this crop. But now we're kind of all full steam ahead planning for the 2021 crop. And usually that starts off with seed and variety selection for next year, Allie, and something that it varies by operations. I work with some growers that are really in tune to this, like to really study it out and take a look. And it goes as extreme as others saying, you just tell me what to plant and I'm not going to think about it. So it's always, a multifaceted approach of how that goes about. But it is something that Allie is extremely important. And I do feel like, Allie, in our business, we are fortunate that, our portfolio is pretty forgiving, but there's still some things that are important. And really what I think about a product placement, in a lot of cases, it's right product, right acre, but it's a lot of times it's like, whatever you do, just don't do this, right? Sometimes you're just, you and I both go on a lot of service calls. And sometimes when I get there, what's going on here? It's like, well, I got, product ABC here. I'm like, oh, it's like, it's like, that's just like, we were in trouble from the get-go. And those are things that I usually try to avoid, but there's a lot more to it than that. But it is important. And it is something I encourage every producer to really think about, because it really can make or break a grower's operation year in, year out.
Yeah. And I like the way I'm looking at it, where's maybe the place that this can't go versus sometimes it can get a little convoluted when we're talking of every specific place that you could put a specific product. So I like looking at that from a different angle. So certainly that's a nice tip. I think too, so like I mentioned, time of the year that you're also having these product conversations, but getting a lot of different data thrown at you. And sometimes it can be difficult to vet through between, is this a quality piece of data locally that I can start to weight some of my decisions off of? So there's a lot of things that go into maybe a better data set versus one that's not quite as strong. Just right off the bat, what are some of the things that you're looking for as if someone were to be bringing you data from the field? Yeah.
And, we can be role playing there, Allie. I had a lot of questions of, I don't believe in plot data. You show me your plot data, your products are better. Someone else comes and they show that your products are worse. So I don't know what to believe. And it's all a good question. But, if I look at a few things and Allie, I think we're fortunate, we try to, you and I try to generate or create our plots to match these qualities, what I look for. And one thing that I preach this year in, year out is, the only thing worse than not having a plot is one plot, right? I know I've made this on the show a few times, and I think that's important. Then the other side of it is I just think local data is really important. So I think the most two important things I look for is, number one, is it local? Number two, is it replicated? Meaning that is there more than one location? Because it's just, I always tell a grower the worst thing we can do is just plant a single location's plot winner, right? That's one look, and there's a lot of variables. I like to look for things that are performing well at least 30 times, and we talk a lot about our agronomy summary book and our corn sets. We plant in the ballpark of 60 to 70 of those a year. Whether things go wrong, you might lose 1, 2, or 3, but I think this year we published 57 locations of the same products in the same order, planted in 57 different environments, 57 different farmer practices, 57 different fields, soil types, management, the whole works. And that's just a good way to say, hey, how is hybrid A compared to hybrid B in this many locations? And it also helps that we can't always plant one hybrid, Allie. Now I can look at, well, how do I pick out the 3, 4 that I want to plant in my operation? And those are the qualities I'm always looking for.
Yeah, and like I think one key point I did want to reiterate, you talked about, these are farmer practice, all the plots that we have. So we're not telling folks how to manage these. This is all real time in the field, whatever practices folks are implementing across all their other acres. So, full disclosure there. And then of our data set, we're not disclosing any information outside of, a tornado destroying a couple of our plots and some of those factors that are out of our control. Obviously, keeping those locations out of our data set, but full disclosure otherwise. And I like that we can take a look at all of our locations at a macro level across Southeast Minnesota. And then we're also able to pare that on down to a micro level, all the way down to county or around surrounding towns to give you information that truly is, right outside of your back door.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's I think the most powerful thing about our set is the localness of it is important. Then also, like I said, not looking at it just to Southeast Minnesota, but getting down to the county level or even just some really niche things is just really important. And Allie, when we come on a break here, we may expand this a little bit. I should feel a few more tidbits in there that might be good to look at, and we'll kind of review those after break.